So looks like
We can't hear her.
yes, looks like sir's.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So what happened is when its recording session is on, so I should accept it, but I have opted other way, so I just got disconnected. Okay. So I think I'm audible, right, Vesina?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So friends, what I'm saying is the very first week we started a great session on climate education, thanks to Radhika Iyengar and Srinivas Akula and officers from my head office who are really coordinating with all the principals on ground. It was a holiday last week. Again, this week was also a great holiday for US people. Despite of this, Radhika ji and Jeff and all others, they jumped into action because they have done their session during holiday in India. Now they have given up their holiday because Thanksgiving is a big festival. It's like a federal holiday in the United States, and it's just like a Sankranti for our Indians, particularly in the state of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. So, but despite of this, they have joined. Thank you very much, Radhika ji, for taking up the session. We have a 10 commandments in the Sweros. One of the best commandment I like is I shall never give up. So it may be a holiday or it may be something else, but once the program is scheduled, we are going ahead. So despite of holiday, Thanksgiving also today, Radhika ji and the team has invited a very senior most professor, very senior most professor. I don't know. I may take at least half an hour time to read his biography when I entered into the Wikipedia about that Jeff. Such a great guy from Harvard University alumni and a professor and an economist, academic, public policy analyst, and worked on several projects. So today is joining us, and also top on this, we have at least 10 to 15 students who has come up with lots of questions on last week's session, particularly on COP. And I hope Resina might share with Radhika ji, I think so. Namaskaram, namaste, Jeff ji. Very good morning to you. Thank you very much on behalf of Social Welfare Residential Education Institution Society. Thank you very much for joining us. You can see hundreds of students joining this program. They're all are in the residential schools and they are with their mentors. I just want to give a little background on these schools. All these schools are run by government, and this is for very low income group, poorest of the poor, but they are with hunger for knowledge. Though they are poor, they are with hunger for knowledge, and they want to scale like like anything. If you ask any student what is your goal, no doubt they will say that I want to enter into Ivy League institutes. No doubt they will say that I want to do MS in some good universities, and they want to become entrepreneurship. Earlier, entrepreneurship is a Greek word for these communities. Now they are doing some business ideations. Now they are doing lots of extracurricular and co-curricular activities that made the entire system so vibrant across the social welfare institutions. Dear Jeff, we have almost 268 institutions in the government of Telangana, out of which 238 are for the schools and the junior colleges. When I say junior colleges, it's meaning 10 plus 2, the 11th and 12th class. And 30 colleges are exclusively for the women, young women, like degree colleges. And these young women are now entering into very big spaces because of our focused training on a project called as Triple E, EEE. E stands for education, E for entrepreneurship, and other E for employment. Now, our students are joining into the companies like Cognizant, companies like Microsoft, with 20 lakhs per annum pay, and some are doing some good business. So this is one success story, and thanks to our two secretaries. I need to, every time I should say two secretaries, because the former secretary was a very vibrant. His name is Dr. R.S. Praveen Kumar from Harvard University. He did the MA Public Policy, Public Administration, and came back and done lots of experiments here and transformed the lives of millions of students and the community also. And the same line, now we have a very powerful young IAS officer, a bureaucrat, Dr. Sri Ronald Gross, an IAS officer, and he wants to really transform, not only in terms of education, but to transform their lives, transform the community itself. That's where he has connected the team from Columbia, and thanks to Radhika, Professor Radhika, for helping out, meeting my students, interacting with the students, and making them to think out of box. Because even if you go and ask the students from top-notch international schools, private schools, if you ask about COP, I hope they will not answer. But my students are geared up. They are in line with what's happening about climate education across the globe. That is the standards of these students. And thank you very much for joining us, dear Jeff. And it's now over to Radhika ji. Over to Radhika.
Thank you, Praveen sir. It's an honor to be here again with so many students. It will be great if we can all see your videos so that we can get to see you. So maybe if you can switch on the video. I know there are, I don't know, more than 1,000 students joining today, or probably more than 1,500 students. And it's great to see so much of enthusiasm, to hear from Jeff. You can ask him any question on COP26 and he will be able to answer. So it's great that he's here today. Just introducing my colleagues, Srinivas, Navata, Sana from Hyderabad, and I think there are people joining. Shivani is joining from Bhopal. Munmun is joining from Bhopal, and there is also another school that is joining from New Delhi, Blue Wells International School.
Radhika ji, can I interrupt you for a
Yes.
second? Can
Sure.
you unmute Professor Jeff? I think.
Yes.
Unmute
Sure.
or make him co-host so that it will be easy for him to respond.
Sure.
Thank you.
So. Yes,
Yeah.
great. So I just want to also, acknowledge Bluebell School here. They are here from Delhi. Their teachers, Preeti ma'am and Neeru ma'am, are here, as well as their students. So it's great that we are building up this community of all students and teachers who want to be a part of education for sustainable development, climate education. I think this is what we need. Lot of enthusiasm and lot of knowledge. So to get that knowledge, I know that we are not covering COP26 in our schools, but it will be great to discuss these issues, discuss policy issues. In the last session, we did a lot of local intervention related discussions, planting saplings. A lot of you are doing plastic collection. So this session is much more broad. It's more on policy. So we can ask Jeff on policy related questions. Where is the world going? What can India do better? All sorts of questions. But let me just quickly introduce Jeff and open up my slides here. As Praveen sir mentioned, it's very difficult to do justice to Jeff's a lot of accomplished work, but I'll just try to manage to do something here which speaks to what he has been working on, which is relevant for our conversation. So he is probably the most important economist in the world by New York Times. Time magazine's called him the world's best economist, which is very true. He's also been instrumental in designing the Sustainable Development Goals. And students, I think I want to mention that it's very important to know what the Sustainable Development Goals are. We have a person here, Professor Sachs, who has been instrumental in designing them. So I think this is something really important to look at and see what are the goals saying and how can we align our activities locally to Sustainable Development Goals. He's been advising the past 3 United Nations Secretary General since the past 2001 on various policy issues globally, and taking countries in directions that we need to know about. He's a university professor at Columbia University, has written numerous books and articles and newspaper articles. He's been awarded Padma Bhushan by the government of India. So we really have a person who has done a lot and can explain these things in simple form, because I think many experts talk in such great language, but it's very inaccessible to all of us. So I think here is the opportunity for us to ask him simple questions and he can give us answers that really make sense. There is one book that we will be following as our Bible, because there are a lot of important information here which needs to be digested. He's the author of The Age for Sustainable Development. So we will be looking at this book, various chapters in the book, so that we can really understand these policy related issues, as well as much more on the global side. So having said that, Jeff is here. Thank you for joining, Jeff. I know it's a holiday here, but Fridays for Future Movement has to continue every Friday. So we are doing this every Friday, and it's so we are very happy that you are here today. We'll maybe ask you to give a roundup of COP26, and a lot of students have a lot of questions here. And as you can see, they are all very excited to have a word with you. So I will keep mum and I will ask the students to ask you questions. But before that, what is your opinion of the latest COP26? What is COP26? You have been involved in so many different COPs over the past decades. So what is your observation? Where are we headed? And do we have any hope?
Greetings to everybody. Big wave from New York City. Great to see you. And isn't it amazing that we can just have I call it a global classroom, and we can all get together and from wherever we are now. And this is a fantastic opportunity. I think it means a big change in the future for the whole world, that we can be very well interconnected. And you can have great teachers like Mr. Praveen and like Ms. Radhika, who are fantastic educators and so committed to help you, to empower you for the future. This is a big deal because truly 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, this would not even be possible. We wouldn't even imagine that we would have a Friday for the Future together. And I could be in New York City, and you're, I think, all in Telangana, if I heard correctly, in Hyderabad and nearby. And that is wonderful and exciting for me. I just have a few minutes to be with you today because I have a call with China briefly. It shows how global the world is. So I want to say a few remarks, and then Radhika will collect all the good information and the questions, and I know that we'll be able to answer them in due course, but unfortunately I won't be able to be with you directly one-on-one today for long. So I wanted mainly to say hello and to say a few things that are, I hope, helpful and important. First, well, thank you for the chance to be together. My belief is that we should all work together for sustainable development in the whole world. Sustainable development means that every place in the world should have economic progress, and every place in the world should be fair to everybody in that place, no matter what their religion or race or creed, or if a girl or a boy, everybody treated fairly and equally. And the third is that we take care of the environment, which we're not doing very well, you know. We're in a big, very dangerous environmental crisis. Indeed, many of them. We have climate change, and we have all of the pollutants and the dirty air. and the extinction of other species. So we're not taking care. And sustainable development says we should take care of all of those goals that we have: a better economic life, more social justice, and environmental sustainability, and do it for everybody, not just for some rich people in one country or another, not just for a few people, and not just for Hindus, or not just for Muslims, or not just for whatever group, but for everybody. And in the United States, we have so much discrimination because white people think that they are superior to people of colored skin. It's terrible. That's an idea that goes back a long time in the United States. We had slavery, we had discrimination, we have a lot of nasty people. We had a really nasty president, Donald Trump. He was our worst president ever because he's a nasty man. And part of his nastiness is that he's a white supremacist. So this is the idea of sustainable development, that this should be for everybody. And we know that that's not easy to achieve because people have bad ideas and bad feelings. And then politicians sometimes stir up hatred when they shouldn't. Politicians should be teaching us to respect each other. But in order to win votes or to win power, they talk against one group or another group, or they talk against girls, or this is why we need sustainable development. The second thing is we need to cooperate globally, which is why I love being on Zoom with you now, because we can't cooperate if we can't see each other, right? We can't cooperate if we're not dealing with each other. But if we are dealing with each other, how can we not cooperate? Once we understand that it's real people, not just, a place on a map, but real people that we're dealing with, then we can be decent human beings. In my country, there's so much negative talk about China, for example. I really can't stand it because I go to China all the time. I have so many friends in China. I have so many students in China. I admire so much of what Chinese people are doing. But then we have all the negative media and all the stupid statements, usually made by people who don't know anything about what they're talking about. They've never been to China. They don't know any Chinese people, but they know they hate them. And so this is really a big advantage if we can get everyone connected like we are today. This is a huge advantage because then we can work together and address all of our common challenges. The third thing I want to say is that sustainable development requires a lot of local innovations. You have to figure out new ways to do things. And you're already doing it with this school, with the education. This is a big advance over a few years ago. But let me ask you about, if you're in a village, about healthcare or good jobs or water problems or other problems. They need solutions. And one of the solutions we need right now, for example, to stop the human-made global warming, we need to switch to solar power. India has most of its electricity produced by coal. This has two big problems. One is the air is dirty. And, even during COP26, when we were talking about getting out of coal, and the Indian government was saying, well, we can't hurry. The air was so polluted in New Delhi that the schools had to shut. So this is a big problem. This is very dirty kind of energy. It hurts the lungs, it creates disease. So it's not even good, but it's what we have relied on because it's been cheap in the past. But now solar power is very inexpensive. And I think India has a lot of sunshine. last time I was in India. I remember lots of sunshine. So there's great solar potential in India, but each location is going to have to come up with some solar power solutions. And farmers, maybe some of your family, use diesel engines, but they could use solar power tractors or solar power pumps or other technology that would be cleaner, actually cheaper, more reliable. But this requires local solutions, because there's no way that anyone's going to figure out what to do in Telangana other than people in Telangana, that's for sure, because no one else knows as much. And you guys are going to be the real experts. And by the way, you'll be experts. I'm sorry to say it to your teachers, but you'll be experts more than your teachers really soon if you study just a little bit, because the teachers like me, we don't know enough about good digital technology. We don't know how to make our phones work properly, or how to use digital technology properly, because we weren't born into it the way you are. So this is a real opportunity for you to innovate and to create new ways to solve all of these problems. And so one thing I would recommend is that you look carefully when you're studying at the Sustainable Development Goals, and then you make some projects. How can we achieve these goals in our community? Even if the whole country isn't doing it or the whole world isn't doing it, well, how could the state of Telangana do it? How could our village do it? How could our city do it? How could Hyderabad do it? So these are questions you could ask, and you could go to the panchayat, you could go to the mayor, you could say, we need to achieve sustainable development here. What is our plan for sustainable development? What is our clean energy plan? What is our water and sanitation plan? What is our sustainable agriculture plan? Are we planting more trees? What are we doing? Are all children in school? How can we make sure that everybody gets a good education? You guys are in a good situation. Clearly, you've already got global classrooms. But what about making sure that every child is? And all of you need to, of course, complete at least upper secondary education, at least, let me say it, as your teacher, and then go to university or to some kind of advanced skills school. And then we need solutions. How is that going to be? There may not be enough places right now. So that's SDG 4, is universal education for everybody. Everyone that I'm looking at right now, all of you need a quality and deserve a quality education. So that also requires problem solving. And that can be problem solving at the local level or at the state level or at the national level. And I work on it at the United Nations at the global level. So let me end, because I do have to go, unfortunately, just to say a word about COP26. That's a meeting of government officials from every country in the world. There are 193 countries in the United Nations. By the way, India has the most people of any country now, or about the same as China. And China and India and Africa each have about the same number of people now, 1.4 billion people. But in Africa, it's 54 countries. India's one country and China's one country. So you guys are the giants. But 193 countries came together. And the idea was to have everybody, every government promise that it would move from the polluting coal and polluting fossil fuels to solar power and wind power and other fuels that don't harm the environment and don't cause climate change. And there was some progress at this meeting, but not enough progress. And one of the places that needs faster progress is India, because India is really vulnerable to climate change. In fact, where you live gets so hot now in the summer, it's really dangerous. And it's getting hotter and hotter. And many days are above 40 degrees, and some days are above 45 degrees, and even hitting 50 degrees. And this is no good. This is so dangerous for India. So I want India to be in the lead of the world saying, stop it. We have to hurry. We have to be the fastest. But you know what? This time India wasn't saying that, unfortunately, at the meeting. It was saying, oh, we can't do it. It's going to take us a long time. We're very poor. We have to use coal for a long, long time. We won't promise to stop using coal. We won't promise to stop fossil fuels until 2070, 50 years from now. Well, I know people in India, you can do it much faster because there's so many smart people. And you guys are going to figure it out much smarter than the older generation anyway. So that's my message is there's a big problem to solve. We have to work together to solve it. India needs to make its solar mission work faster. It needs to move to all that great sunshine to power the economy. I know it can be done. And this is a big challenge, but I would like the young people, all of you, the students, to say, here's what we could do. Here's what we could do in our schools. Here's what we could do in our community. Here's what we could do in our city. Here's what we could do in Telangana. Here's what we could do nationally. Because maybe the politicians don't know yet what to do, but you guys can tell them what to do. That's what Fridays for the Future should be all about. So I'm gonna have to go now because I really have another commitment, unfortunately. But I wanted to be sure to say hello to everybody. Radhika Iyengar is my favorite teacher in the whole world. She teaches so many people. She teaches children in the United States, in Africa, in India, everywhere. And she loves teaching, so she's really great at it. And so you're really lucky. And Radhika is going to collect questions and hear feedback and make suggestions for you. Praveen, thank you so much for the honor to be with you and with all of the students. It's really great. So thank you. Give me a big wave so that I can see everybody. I'm going to look forward to hearing your questions and comments, but especially I'm excited to hear your ideas about how to achieve sustainable development, because I want India to be in the lead of this. It needs it, but so many smart people. So I really want to hear the clever ideas coming fast. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Bye-bye.
Wow. I think we have a lot of work to be covered. Thank you, Jeff, for being with us. We have a lot of things, as Professor Sachs is saying, we have so many things to cover, so many things to work on, so many new and innovative ideas that we need to generate on climate. Are we all ready?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes. Oh,
Yes, madam.
great. So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
Yes, madam. We are
Yes,
ready to go.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
that's perfect.
Yes, ma'am. We are ready, ma'am. We are ready, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam. We are ready.
Great.
Yes, madam.
Fantastic.
We are ready to make it better.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And I think let's just continue this momentum. Let's continue meeting on Fridays for Future, and let's continue thinking on how we should take all these ideas forward and work on things. So what are the few things that Jeff just mentioned? Maybe if someone wants to say a few points that he just mentioned, what does India need to work on right now? What did Professor Sachs tell us? Anyone wants to jump in? Ansika, yes.
Yes,
Yes,
madam.
madam.
Sir told to use. Use coal and told to use.
I think
Sunshine,
first we
which is
all,
well available.
just 1 second. Excuse me, just 1 second. I will ask the person. So maybe we can all be muted for now, and then I'll ask the person and the same person has to reply. So I have Hansika's hand up. Whoever has a hand up, I will ask them. Hansika?
Good morning, ma'am. Professor
Sachs mentioned that right now India is actually in a very dire state, it's vulnerable to climate change, and it's in danger because the temperatures are rising and it's getting hotter and hotter. But it has the potential of harboring solar energy, and it's more cheaper and reliable for countries like India. And we need to move towards solar energy more, and incorporate it in many other things like maybe cars and electronics, etc., etc. And that's what we must move towards. And we must collaborate with each other, specifically the youths, because we have the ideas, and we must innovate and create ideas and solutions that can help us to move forward. Because this is the time we need to work, and we must lead, because India is extremely vulnerable, and we must move faster. So yeah.
Thank you, Hansika. Thank you for saying all these wonderful ideas and priorities. Couple of things. Let us look at what are. SDGs are Sustainable Development Goals, because Hansika just mentioned that we need to have these priorities. So let us look at what these priorities are as the UN has showed us. So next homework will be to look at the Sustainable Development Goals that the UN has proposed for us, and that is also what Jeff was saying right now. What are those sustainable development goals? We need to have a good understanding of those. So now I have Jyoti. Jyoti, you have your hands raised. Yes, yes, Jyoti. Yes. And maybe introduce yourself and your school, college, where you're, from. Yes.
Madam, my name is Akshay, madam. I am from TSWRS Gopalpalli, madam.
Great.
I am studying in 10th standard, madam.
Yes, go ahead.
This class is very interesting, madam. By this class, we came to know that there are many responsibilities to develop our countries. Mainly today, while we are studying, we mainly focus how everything we will study how to develop our country.
Great. Great. So yes, just I think both of you are mentioning the same thing, that it is an important class and we are all here to learn together. So keep sharing your ideas, keep thinking about the sustainable development goals, because that's something to work from, at least the global picture, and then we can look at what we can do locally, which you are already doing. So then now I have Deeksha. Deeksha. Yes.
Yeah, so I would like to wish you a very good evening to everyone. And I'm Deeksha Singh from TTWRJC Girls Jangamet, Bodopal. So as Jeffrey sir said us, we have to do so many changes, like coming from, like as our Ambedkar sir too said that, but unfortunately he isn't there. So we have basically we have to do a lot of, I mean a lot of things to maintain our sustainable things, and we have to change our India, because we are sparrows, we have that capability to change, and there are a lot of things to do. um, uh, as Jeffrey sir, as he's saying not only about India, he's saying about every and the world, total the world. Like he's saying, he was, but I like only one, basically one point. He was saying that he loved China just because he had lived there, but we people are saying that we didn't get. Actually COVID came from China. So he was saying that not only the whole I mean the whole country is not responsible for that. Only few nasty doctors are responsible, and he also has so many good friends, good teachers, good colleagues over there. So basically world do what the world basically does. If one people do something wrong, they will point out everyone. So that's wrong. We have to remove strife from everywhere, and conflicts also is there in our whole world, like white people and dark people in other countries, and in India basically SC and ST. So this is the basic point we have to take out. This is the biggest problem in the whole India, and this is what I basically liked in sir's speech. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Diksha. I think you are completely on point, and thank you for raising this issue, because this is also something that the Sustainable Development Goals mention. Now, again, homework is to look at Sustainable Development Goals 4.7. What does Sustainable Development Goals 4.7 suggest us? It's suggesting that we should look at everyone equally. There should be no biases. It talks about global citizenship education. So let us get aware of what the Sustainable Development Goals are, because as Diksha is mentioning, that we should not pinpoint this person, that person. I think everyone is equal here. Everyone needs have their rights, and we should respect everyone's rights. And this is what citizenship education actually says, that we should respect everyone's rights. So thank you, Diksha, for sharing your thoughts. Now I have TTWRF.
Glorious good evening, madam.
Just 1 second. Okay. Is this A. Jairam? Yes, please go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
A glorious good evening, madam. I am from TDW URJC Boys Devarkona. My name is Jairam. As Jeffrey sir said, we should go further for sustainable development of the country. As in India, Mahatma Gandhi said once that the earth has all the resources that can help a man, but it should not be used for a greed of one's greed. I am thinking that we should go because we should focus more on renewable energy. This is fossil fuels. It can go extinct any day. If we are out, if today is the day when all the fossil fuels in the world are out, all the fossil fuels in the world are over, then what will be our next move? So before that day is coming, we should focus more on sustainable development, because we should focus more on solar energy, wind energy. We should decrease pollution. So I don't want to be extinct. I don't want the human species to go extinct. What is our reason? The dinosaurs probably they had a strong reason. They got hit by a dinosaur. So what is our reason? We have a chance. The government is spending hundreds of thousands of billions of dollars on pollution, sustainable development. But why can't we spend that much of amount on developing and making our rural areas, our village areas more, knowing more about the global warming and other things? I have observed that many people in my area, in my district, doesn't know, the village people don't know about global warming. They even don't know what is happening around the world. So why should I want the UN to invest its money in the farmer sector or in the village areas, so that they could learn more. Everyone should know what is happening here. They think they think everything around them is the world, but it's not like that. I mean, we have many ideas, ma'am, but we don't have the sufficient budget or sufficient amount to make our ideas come to true. I want every one of my classmates, every one of in my school to become an Elon Musk, an Einstein, Jeff Bezos. To, I want everyone to become entrepreneurs, to know about more Earth. Why would we have to spend hundreds of billions for going and colonizing Mars? We could just simply just do we could just simply make our Earth a better place for living. We should think the globe as not as many countries with different people, different language, but we should think as a one village. We are all the members of that village. It is our responsibility to share the information, to make it better for others to live. What are we going to give our next generations, our future generations? Our past generations has given us a clean and green earth. But what we have done, the earth has been polluted so much in 100 years than in 100 million years in the industrial revolution. But we are not focusing on this climate change. We are not mainly focusing on climate change, global warming, but we are thinking to expand our territories. We are thinking of international trade. What is the use of that if we can't live on earth? We should first focus more on our earth. We should protect it. We should give our future generations a clean, green, and healthy earth. We should give them better place to live, not like this pandemic. When I was a child, I used to see many colorful birds around my area, around my village. But now I see lot of cell phone towers. I see people riding these fossil fuel bikes like diesel petroleum. Everyone is talking like, okay, ma'am, we will not use the fossil fuel, we will use the solar energy. But the next day, the next moment, you're riding a bike, you're going in a car. What is the use? You're only telling in the meeting, I want this situation to be changed. The country should focus on developing their nation and moving in a sustainable development and making the environment more better, focusing on climate change and many more things, rather than investing their money to make their militaries even big. Not investing in arms, nuclear weapons, and atomic bombs will not make our earth a good place. We have to first protect it. Then we have to think of our security. What will happen if India recently, all the members, all the representatives of countries had held a meeting in Glasgow about the climate change. But I think, what is the use of that when you can't implement it in your own country? First of all, we should do like this. Ma'am, my request to you is like this, that in my school, in my area, everyone has lot of ideas about throwing away the fossil fuels and making renewable energy more and use. But we have innovations and ideas, but we don't have the enough budget, enough money. So it's like in America, it's like $1, in India 74 rupees. What if we get $100? Couldn't we make it more improve? We could make what we could make new. I have many inventions. Personally, I have many inventions, but I don't have this enough budget
That's a
or
very
money.
good point. Good point, Jairam. And I think this is fantastic to hear that you look at the problem in a much more global perspective, and then you also have solutions that you have innovated locally. So we should do something about these innovations. Always, I think, understanding the problem and looking at the solutions locally, what you can do is also connecting to what Professor Sachs just mentioned, that we need to be looking at local solutions. We need to be asking our panchayats, we need to be asking all our leaders, what are they doing for sustainable development in our own towns? And that's true for every country and every location. So as you mentioned, COP26 happens every year. There are many country leaders joining, but how can we make all of those policies implementable in our own towns, in our own locations? And let's think of those ideas together. So thank you for setting the stage for a lot of solutions. So next, I want to invite next. I think one I want to mention that please focus on solutions, because we know, I think we know what the problems are. Let's focus on what we can do at our local government level, at our school, and other things. And keep your maybe comment up to 2 minutes, because we have so many students here who want to participate, and I want to give everyone a chance. So let's hear from TTWRS Boys Kodangal. I'll ask them to unmute, please.
Good evening, madam.
Okay, who wants to say? Okay, yes. Is this Yes. Who wants to? Maybe I'll. So TTWR is boys Kodangal. If you want to, you are the one on the list.
Good evening, madam. Good evening, madam.
Yes.
You are belonging to TTWR.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for this golden opportunity to us. It is responsible to the everyone to the maintain the sustainable the development. The maintain goal of the sustainable development it is the have and the let others creatures and live. This wonderful it is not only
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
belong to us, but all the
Hello.
but are belong to us, but are the creatures. Especially today we are the using the
Hello,
more
good
and the
evening,
more the
ma'am.
fossil fuel, but
Yes,
we
someone
can
speaking.
replace into the natural.
ఒకసారి ప్లీజ్ అందరూ ఒకసారి మ్యూట్ కానీ. హలో, అందరూ ఒకసారి మ్యూట్ లో ఉండండి. ఎవరైతే రేజ్ హ్యాండ్ లేపుతారో రాధిక అయ్యంగార్ గారు వాళ్ళ పేరు చెప్తారు, అప్పుడు వాళ్ళు మాట్లాడండి. హలో, ప్లీజ్ గో ఆన్ మ్యూట్ ప్లీజ్. గో ఆన్ మ్యూట్ ప్లీజ్. నాగరాజు గారు గో ఆన్ మ్యూట్ ప్లీజ్. అండ్ ఎవరైతే హ్యాండ్ రేజ్ చేస్తారో రాధిక అయ్యంగారు వాళ్ళని అడుగుతారు, ప్లీజ్ వాళ్ళు మాత్రమే అన్మ్యూట్ చేయండి.
So maybe who wants to let me? Yes, someone was speaking earlier on, and we cannot able to hear.
Good evening, ma'am. Hello, good evening, ma'am. Hello, good evening, ma'am. Hello. My name is
Just
Roshan
one
Kaur from
second.
TTWR Bias Kodangal, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, so today, nowadays we can see that sustainable development on the topic we are speaking here. So by the using of the natural fertilizers in the fields and around the forest, so we can grow many types of forest and crops in by using of natural fertilizers. And also I will suggest to the government to provide the natural subsidy to the government, to the farmers, to produce the crops by using natural fertilizers. And also most of them in the present scenario we are using the organic fertilizers. By using of organic fertilizers there will be causes of less production of crops and less production of trees, and by the overplantation of overplanetary and overplantation of trees on the earth, so we can be able to develop our environment. And also many of the in the present scenario many of them are using the plastics. So by those plastics it takes millions of years to be composed in the soil, but by using of natural fertilizers and all whichever we are using in the crops or in a forest, there will be a very large types of productions. And then we can say that many of them are depending on industries. So many of them are depending upon industries. By depending on the industries there will be causes of global warming, and whichever the harmful gases released by the whichever the harmful gases released by the factories, it is harmful for the environment. So by using of natural fertilizers and natural materials which is used for the production of trees and plants, it is may be helpful to the environment. And also it will develop the production of forest. And also by using of subsidies, and I'll suggest that government as give the subsidies, means natural fertilizers give to the farmers to protect the trees and plants rather than the organic fertilizers. So by over producing of developing of factories or industrial areas, so by leaving of harmful gases and whichever harmful smoke in the air, it will be harmful to the environment, and also it will harm to the people on the earth. And by the harmful gas, people able to die. And also whichever the environmental crisis will be done, and it will be destroyed so totally. So I will suggest the government to be give the subsidy of of natural fertilizers to produce the trees and plants. And I will suggest all whoever we have to encourage the government to be farmer encouragement, and also whoever the living in the forest areas, we should give awareness programs, and we will have to conduct the awareness programs about the forest and what is the forest and how we have to be able to develop the what we can say the environment. And also what we can say in 1983 Apico movement, Panduranga, we can say that he has been developed that, and he has been developed the environment, and also Chipko movement has been started because of just saving of plants. Chipko means we have to hug the plants and we have to be friendly with environment, not destroying the environment. It will be a very harmful to nature, because of when we destroy a plant, it's like we are destroying a life of a organism. Whoever on the earth destroy the plant means it will be very harmful to the plant, and also it will be very dangerous to the plant. About 24% of forest is on Telangana. So by producing the many trees, it will be in the future generations, it will be about what we can say, it will be about 33% or minimum 33%, it will be growth. And also we can develop our environment by the planting of many trees and many plants, and also less using of plastics.
We have to move on. Please keep your suggestions to only 2 minutes. Otherwise, we don't get chance for all the others to speak. I think we need to definitely work on a platform, maybe a classroom. Maybe we can create a Google Classroom where you can write your lengthy suggestions, but very good points on agriculture. I have to admit that you guys, I'm so impressed by this conversation. There's so many new ideas, subsidies, natural agriculture, pesticides. We all have to look at why pesticides are harmful for our ecosystem. So I think let's keep ourselves muted, and we will create some platform where we can share all our comments. But with the interest of time, we only have 10 minutes, and I think we have Ma'am Kusuma Kumari, who's waiting to do a presentation.
Thank you.
So we'll give her.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much for your thoughts and comments.
Good evening, madam. Good evening, madam. I'm Bhuvneshwari of 10th class from TSWRAIS Society from Ramreddy Gudem, Mahabub Nagar West. So, ma'am, we are very happy to listen this Zoom session, and from our various people from abroad of the states. So, abroad.
Yes.
Abroad of this country, and we are knowing about various things on every Friday. So, ma'am, as today's topic is sustainable development, we are thinking development is only has today's generation. The development is only refers to the digital things which are going like computers, robots, and electronical devices. Increasement of electronical devices. But due to increasement of these all electronical devices, we are not getting. We are human beings. We are behaving very cruelly towards some organisms in our society. Like we are occupying their places, and we are cutting trees, making deforestation, and we are increasing population. We would not get any resources in proper proportion, and even though we are increasing population, we are cutting trees. So that is not a good development of cutting trees, and also increasement in showing good interest in increasement of electronical devices. We have to increase the vegetation in our society, and every person should plant a plant. Planting a hope gives us planting a plant gives us a good hope to our future generations.
Great point. Sorry, I have to cut you off because we have to go to Dr. Kusuma Kumari, but that's very good suggestion. Plant trees, save our biodiversity. and look after our planets. That's a very, very good point. Thank you so much for suggesting those points. I'll head over to Dr. Kusuma Kumari for her presentation, but thank you so much for those wonderful points. I think this is something we need to take a much bigger discussion on.
Good evening. Good evening, the
The
dignitaries. Jeffrey Sachs, Director of Center for the Sustainable Development, Columbia University. Radhika, I am Madam, and Ronald Ross and Srinivas Sir. And good evening for you all. Good morning. I think we are here for good morning. Good evening. I believe this opportunity for as a nature's blessing, this presentation could transform many young minds towards the environmental conversation. I think this is as a privilege where the Columbia University and pride for us as a Columbia University in collaboration with our social welfare residential institutions have come forward with a vision to conserve the nature for the benefit of the humankind and other living beings in a varied ecosystems. It's in India, being rich in nature has to protect it with its diversity. So we from RNN has come forward with the tiny steps. I think Columbia University and Professor Sachs for this column appreciate my work, whatever the little steps I've taken to protect the environment. Of course, the climate justice, COP26, we were all talking. Our Telangana Social Welfare Residential Law College for Women established in for the academic year 2021. And from the day when I was with the environmental protection only, but on the day of the Go Green, we have started on June 5th of this academic year, this 2021, June 5th, Go Green, headed by me only with a motive to protect the environment. My caption for my green brigaders, this thing, let's nurture the nature for a better future. Because we all know that we were suffering with the lockdown because of COVID and various students were depressed and they were not able to concentrate thoroughly. For this region, I thought it's a good opportunity to connect with them, with the nature, because most of us, we are all seen now, they are from the rural background, they are the protectors, they are the caretakers of the nature. As the cities, as I believe that the cities are the stinks of the civilization, and these are the indigenous people and the people who can protect the environment, they have a greater role and a better role they can be playing. So this aspect and my inspiration was Sundar Lal Bahuguna, who was the father of the environment. And he started as one of the speakers, young mind said that Chipko movement. The Chipko movement is when the forest dwellers, they wanted to cut the trees. The contractors wants to cut the trees and the women, they were not allowing them to cut the trees. And in Himalayas mountains, Himalayan forest, he started Chipko movement, that is hug the trees. That means all the women were in the forefront in this movement. That's an inspiration for me. And I've thought of this. And our vision is to bring the mini foresters in all the social welfare educational institutions, because we are spread in acres of the land. All the institutions are spread in acres of the land. I think we can make best use of it. That's it. And that is, as a part of it, I've also trained the students and their parents whenever I conduct the house parent meetings or the meetings connecting with them during the COVID time, especially because mothers, because I believe, as I said, the Chipko movement started with the women, as a women has a greater role in the environmental protection and maintain the sustainability, because that is where it starts. And of course, I don't see it as a burden, because I see it's a pleasure for the women to do all these activities. So that's the other aspect of the social welfare. I've tried to bring the solar energy, as Dr. Jeffrey Sachs also suggested us to have. India being a tropical country, we have a lot of solar energy. So I think with the social responsibility activities, we can seek the help of other people to all these social welfare education institutions must and should have the solar energies, as the suggestion made by the Jeffrey sir also. So the flagship project, even Indian Telangana government is also making so many efforts. He made many efforts with reference to Harita Haram. So far, it succeeded in planting 230 crore plants so far across the state. Across the state, 235 crore plants have been planted. So this actually, the other student, the man is, there is a sufficiency in the world, a sufficient need for a man, but for the greed, the man's greed, there's nothing. Like Gandhiji said, some of the person said. Now, our vision, I would like to say our vision, my social welfare, Telangana social welfare law college vision is inspiration. What we have done so far. What we have done so far. Our persistence in resisting the damage to the mother nature, the stories to inspire and aspire, and also what is our next generations is what we have done so far. I would like to put forward what we have done so far from June 5th to till date. From June 5th to this day, conducted many motivational programs and talks, organized webinars on the Environmental Day and other days, and batched our students as green brigaders and set goals to conserve around the energy and other aspects, and the campuses as well as in their native places. So as a household accelerates the carbon emissions much more, not a negligible aspect, because we all deny that the house is not a place for where carbon is emitted. That's an ignorance of the people which we need to take care of that. And many discourses, and we propelled Save Trees project, reinforcing green brigades during the lockdown too. And discourses and discussions on various environmental disasters, both nature and man-made interventions, like I've shown the PPDs and videos about the flash floods of Uttarakhand, Australia, nuclear power plant, Bhopal gas tragedy, Fukushima. And also I see that the women as a greatest example to stop all this. The great example is Chipko movement and Nandigram, Niamgari Hills and Kuppam nuclear plant, where the women could stop the nuclear project and they could start the environmental disasters with their education and with their motive. So I think the women can do a lot. As most of the law colleges have social welfare colleges are women force is there. I think we are going to achieve our sustainability very soon as well. These are the pictures shown on the screen are my students who have planted the trees, and around till today we have planted 161 plants. That's the total number of the plants, trees, not just the plant trees we have planted in and around their villages and native places, and wherever it is possible, we made them to plant a tree in spite of having that. This is our our persistence in resisting the damage to the mother nature. We have adopted the student adapting the sapling. Our team has put efforts to conserving the nature by shifting to biodegradable aspects and serving food in banana leaves, switching to clay pots from styrofoam cups, recycled bags and cloth bags for shopping. And I made them to do it during COVID days. I made them to stitch the cloth bags for the waste cloth from their home only, because they could do it. And banning the polythene bags in the college premises, choosing the packed food in biodegradable item or paper than plastic and polythene papers. And bamboo combs, jute bags and leafy plates also. Shampoos bar and shampoos powder also, I'm suggesting that, but it is difficult to get it nowadays because the manufacturers are least bothered about it. And tiny things too matters a lot. Consuming natural food, preserving the seeds to plant again, and our festivals made of natural flowers, as Telangana is well aware of it, that is Batukamma. It is collecting, all the women who collect the flowers and fauna, and they connect with the nature during this rainy season. That is the festival of Batukamma, which depicts that the women are always connected with the nature. They always stay connected to the nature. That is the requirement of it. And of course, that can promotes the migration of the seeds, and pollination is encouraged by this particular festival. That is the indication of scientifically. Of course, recycle is a mantra, but protecting the environment is a fundamental duty of every Indian citizen, because in Stockholm Declaration after 1972, Indian government has amended its constitution, and after 42nd amendment, we have drafted, and fundamental duties have been enshrined in the constitution, which made it a point as it's a fundamental duty of every citizen in Indian constitution, duty to protect the environment. So under Article 253 of the Indian Constitution also, it is the responsibility of the every Indian citizens to conserve the energy. And during the COVID days and during the gearing up to reopen the colleges, I made it very clear, very compulsory, and I was very persistently insisting my sweeping sanitary workers to clean the college premises. But I did not allow the workers to use pesticides because I could see so many caterpillars are in and around my premises. So I just asked and suggested, they were screaming, grumbling about this, it's expensive, it is taking time. I said, you should not use pesticides because there are too many caterpillars during that season. So hence, I think that I've done my bit of job this time. And I think we have to switch to solar energy, as Dr. Jeffrey Sachs sir said, and khadi to alternative to jeans and polyester, maybe clay or our immediate dining wear. I make sure whenever I have to present a memo or something to any other person or the dignitaries who visit my place, wherever I am, and whenever I have to give something to any of the other persons, I see the Nirmal paintings and handicrafts from Kerala and Nirmal wooden toys, Odisha bamboo paintings and the other aspects, and pure natural dyes which are made vegetable dyes, kalamkaris. So these are the vegetable aspects which I use it instead of using synthetic and other chemicals. I make sure that I present them those toys only. There's a display on the screen which I presented. They are also Odisha, that is made from Odisha with the bamboos and eco-friendly aspects that I chose to do it. And of course, one of the most important aspect of the Indian population is they play great role because we are culturally rich and we have too many festivals and too many celebrations to be made. So, but none of us takes care of, or most of the Indians do not take care of our festivals. Our festivals has to be diverting, celebrations has to be eco-friendly traditions, and like eco-friendly Ganesha, which is than the plaster of Paris. And these days it is November season, which is said to be the Kartikam, where they float the oil lamps into the rivers. That is, there is an oil spill, and that affects the aqua nature of ecosystem is because of the oil spill. Hence, because of that, it can be replaced with the temporary pools for such purposes. And laws are made to be a dream, but that is my suggestion, because I think the religions in India, because we are really diversified religions and cultures and traditions, faiths and customs, I think all these have to be streamlined, because environmental disaster is not just a simple disaster, it's a green crime. So the other countries have accepted this as a green criminology, but Indians, we are just looking at as just an disaster, just an incident, or any other aspect. I think that has to be changed. Laws has to be amended to this extent, where addressing the environmental disaster as a green crime and to achieve the climate justice. Then the other aspects of it, all the religious leaders or the other persons, without the interference of the political leaders, not disconnecting, annihilating with political interference, we can achieve a lot. Hurdle with us is the political interference with our aspirations or motives or our activities. That is going to be a big hurdle. Once this environmental disaster can be attributed as a green criminology, and we can achieve the climate justice, where when China, I believe that as our what is our gift to the next nature: preserve, conserve, sustain, share. Of course, our Indian Prime Minister has said that we will bring the nation to zero emission by 2070. But
Hello,
I'm very
Dr.
optimistic.
Kusma. Hello.
I'm very optimistic that we will be able to
Dr.
bring it
Kusma.
by 2040. Sir.
Yeah, please try to.
Done, sir. I'll be achieving it.
Okay.
I'm very optimistic about we will be achieving it by 2040 with our efforts. We don't need so much of time to think about our
Thank you very much.
achievement.
Vesina, you please take over.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you, one and all.
Okay. So
Good evening, ma'am.
I understand that I understand that all of you want to
Ma'am,
speak.
my name
It's
is
so nice
Rajiv.
to see all of you so excited and wanting to speak, but I'm really sorry. It's already 10 minutes past 7:30 and we'll have to stop here. Radhika, do you have anything to share?
Jessica, nothing to share. We'll be
Okay.
joining Friday.
All right. Okay. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Radhika, so much for your time. And thank you to Srinivas sir as well. And finally, I'd like to thank Kusma ma'am for her ideas on conserving environment. Fine. And Praveen Mamidala sir, thank you so much. I know you want a chance. Every Friday, we're going to speak. So I'm just waiting for you to speak the next Friday. We will definitely give you all a chance. But right now we're way beyond our time. So I'm really sorry I'm unable to give you the time. Yeah. So I look forward to listening. I also look forward to, like I mentioned already, I want you to put down your ideas and share it with your principals. Yeah, so that we're able to read it. Right? So thank you very, very much. Have a nice evening ahead. So Radhika, I think we can call it a day. You have a fantastic day ahead.
Thank you so much, Raksina. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next Friday.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.